Bobby, can you believe it?
Hi.
That we are back.
We are back.
We're back at Strange Frequencies Radio. Hello, everybody. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing all right.
We got a lot to talk about here.
I thought the show wasn't going to happen today.
Yeah.
It almost was 3 weeks with no show. Actually, it might have been a long time without a show.
It might have been longer than that.
I came downstairs this morning to do some laundry, and I come down here, and the whole table right here.
This whole table that everything sits on.
Well, the whole table itself, only this side, like the legs right here, folded up, so it was like on a slant. The TV was on the ground, everything was off the table, and I just went, "Oh fuck!"
So you thought the TV was going to be smashed, everything was going to be broke.
I thought the TV was done.
It's like everything that we have on this table right here was just basically just like scattered about.
Yeah, it was great. It was a good time.
So how did that happen? Because this is a sturdy table.
Listen, I blame
It's never collapsed before.
The cat ruined the old mixing board.
Okay.
So anytime anything around this area, like your pop filter is destroyed, there's cat hair all over it.
Yeah, there's cat hair. I know that the cat did this.
Yeah. And I know that the cat fucking destroyed the old mixing board because I caught him doing it. So I'm blaming the cat.
Blame the cat for collapsing the table.
Yes, I am.
All right. So strangefrequenciesradio.wordpress.com. You guys remember the old announcements. strangefrequenciesradio.wordpress.com, facebook.com/strangefrequenciesradio. Give us a like. If you have already, tell your friends. You know, we'd like to meet new people and have new listeners, so that'd be cool. If you want to share the link around, be our guest. Mm-hmm. A lot to talk about, really, on the show today.
Sure.
I should probably mention, though, usually during the announcements, I'll say something like, on the strangefrequenciesradio.wordpress.com site, if you ever have trouble downloading the show through conventional means, click on the Dropbox link. We also lately have had We've had a YouTube link.
Yeah.
Where people can, if they missed the show or whatever and they want to watch it, I don't know why you'd want to do that.
I don't know
but
either.
People do. People say it's more convenient, actually.
They like
Some
watching
people
the show.
say it's more convenient for them. You can actually get it on YouTube now. Which our YouTube link is youtube.com/strangefrqradio. And if you're on the strangefrequenciesradio.wordpress.com site, over to the right-hand side, there's like the Listen Live button.
Yep.
There's some other things, and there's one that's the SFR YouTube, and it's an image of you and I in pig and wolf masks.
Those were the greatest masks we ever
the greatest.
possessed.
Yeah, it
I don't
is.
know whatever happened to the pig mask.
I still have the wolf mask.
Listen, my daughter Nora is 3 years old.
Yes.
Perfect age to fucking just destroy her worldview. I would love to just put the pig masks on and just like charge out of a room somewhere.
I have some masks you can borrow if you'd like to destroy her worldview.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, plenty to talk about, I guess. I don't know if you want to mention anything else here before we launch into it.
No, I know that Tasha in the chat room says that her video feed is going super fast. And I've heard this complaint from about two people. Her and another person, they emailed me. Well, Tasha didn't. She's talking about it in the chat room. But another individual emailed me and asked, was this on our end? This is not on our end. I don't know why you guys are getting a super fast feed because other people are getting it normal. So the super fast chipmunk feed is not us.
I'll just say it's probably us, but I don't know what it would be.
I'm going to go ahead and say it's not us.
Yeah, I know. You always say it's not us.
That's what I do.
Right. So seriously, I don't know, and you don't know. I don't know what would be causing that.
Yeah, we haven't changed anything.
We haven't changed anything. I mean, this was happening back like during our last show before everything was knocked off the table and everything.
Yeah.
So I just don't know. I don't know what it would be.
It's a new
I hate
complaint.
it. I hate that it's happening.
Listen, our show wouldn't be our show without a complaint. At least one episode.
Yeah, we did guarantee there would continue to be technical difficulties every week.
The mixing board didn't fix those problems.
Yeah. There will be technical difficulties somehow. We guarantee that on Strange Frequencies Radio. Yeah. We don't guarantee a lot of things, but we guarantee that. Yeah. All right. So, sorry. I don't know what could be causing it. Restart your computer. I really don't know. Yeah. I have no idea. Anyway, I guess we just have to move on. Yeah. Okay. So since we've been gone for so long, or what it feels like, it feels
like it's been longer than 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. We've only been off the air for 2 weeks. Yeah. We didn't do 2 shows in a row. Yeah. But
which is normal in November.
Yeah. But it feels like it's been months.
I know.
It feels like it's been so long since we've done the show. Yep. And while we've been waiting to come back, like now that we're back here today, we're living in a totally different world.
Yeah.
Like some of the biggest stories, like 50 years from now when they look back, these are going to be the biggest stories of all time.
Yep.
These are things that are going to be written about in history books. And I guess we can just start with the most recent and biggest story, which is that the Supreme Court ruled in a 5-4 ruling, 5 justices to 4, that gay marriage can't be can't be held to be illegal in any state.
Now,
So
if
it's
this
now
was
le- yeah.
if this was a real radio show,
Yeah.
right then we would have had the sound effects of applause, like
I used to have those applause sound effects on there. They were really annoying.
yeah. Especially when Egon would come do the show, he would overdo it.
Yes.
Anyway, but like you said, so yes, it's no longer illegal in any state to for a man and a man or a woman to get married.
Yeah, I mean
That's
ruling,
a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I mean it takes a couple weeks for everything to be sorted and all that, but yeah, that's the law of the land now. Is that marriage equality is actually real.
Yeah,
and it's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
But the very first thing that you know what the first thing I did was first thing I did was actually text you because I knew you were sleeping and I wanted to be the first thing you saw when you woke up.
Yeah, and it was the first thing I saw.
And the second thing I did was I went to Facebook and I typed in Rush Limbaugh because I wanted to see what Rush was saying.
Okay.
And basically it was like, no ruling is ever going to stop us or some. It was some dumb shit, just a small little rant. Basically, the United States is going to hell in a handbasket.
Yes.
Yeah. I did enjoy though. There was a bunch of posts that I was seeing of this particular pastor.
Yeah.
Who was saying things like, the protest this, I'm going to light myself on fire.
I do remember that guy, yeah.
And I really don't like to think, I don't want, regardless of your belief, I don't want harm to come to anybody.
I don't want anyone to light themselves on fire.
But really. I kind of wanted this guy
but
too.
This guy, yeah, I'm willing to make an exception for this guy.
Because at least do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah. I respect you so much more, sir, if you would just follow through on what you say you're going to do. I like a man of his word. Yeah. Be a man of your word. Light yourself on fire.
I found the story and I put it on my Facebook. I was like, everybody knows this individual is not going to do it.
Right.
So sure enough, the next day I read a story where it was like, I didn't mean I was literally going to light myself on fire.
Yeah.
What was it, an allegory?
Yes.
Was this a metaphor?
Spiritually, I've already been lit on fire. My soul is on fire.
I was speaking as a metaphor for the entire United States. We're all going to hell.
It's always interesting how that works. But yeah, so I mean, okay, so the Supreme Court, and look, we've thrown out the notes here. There's no notes.
Yeah,
there's
we're
no nothing. We're just doing a bull session, really. Is all this is going to be. We're spitballing. And I have a few things that we want to talk about, of course, but of course the Supreme Court thing was the first. But okay, so it got the ruling was 5-4, as it generally is with these kinds of so much of what the Supreme Court rules on ends up being a 5-4 ruling because there's 4 liberal justices, there's 4 conservative justices, and then Anthony Kennedy is kind of like the swing vote. I mean, it seems like so often he's the swing vote. It comes down to him, and this time he ruled in favor of basically, he used the 14th Amendment's Equal Protection Clause, along with the Due Process Clause, to kind of concoct this the ruling that gay marriage should be legal. And the conservative justices were furious about this, and I don't know enough about the law to really understand it. I tried to read Chief Justice John Roberts' dissent, because I think out of all the conservative justices, John Roberts, well, look, he's the Chief Justice for one thing, so he should be respected for that, I guess. But at the same time, he's a legal scholar, and generally when he writes his dissents or his opinions or whatever, if you read them, they sound like they were written by an adult. Yeah. And that's completely the opposite of what happens when you read Antonin Scalia's dissents.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, Scalia is a wingnut. I mean, I'm not sure he's all there mentally sometimes. I mean, and the things he writes in his dissents are oftentimes, he sounds like just a huge crybaby sometimes.
Which makes him perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
And these are one of the 9
This is one of the people that I want, deciding stuff in my Constitution.
Yeah, right. I mean, look, Clarence Thomas is super conservative and all that too, but when I read Antonin Scalia's dissents.
What was it that Dershowitz said about Scalia?
Well, yeah, he said, at the time he said it...
He fucking destroyed him.
Yeah, at the time Dershowitz wrote this, Scalia was on the Supreme Court, Thomas, and also William Rehnquist was at one time the Chief Justice. William Rehnquist has since passed away. But at the time that Alan Dershowitz said this, he said that he basically, what he did was he said that Dershowitz, or excuse me, he said Rehnquist, Clarence Thomas, and Antonin Scalia would have been the guys at, he compared them to the Salem witch trial judges.
Yeah.
That
basically, so that you are the people that would be crucifying people. You'd be telling people that these are witches and we have to light them
Right.
on fire.
So yeah, he compared them to witch trial judges, and he basically said that while they consider themselves conservative, what they really are statists. And it seems like where a conservative normally would be, we respect the rights of the individual over the rights of the state or whatever. They're the exact opposite. Now, I don't know enough about the law to really comment, but I do feel firm enough in my opinion that Antonin Scalia is a crazy person. And what he wrote in his dissent, he wrote things like, he was criticizing Anthony Kennedy's writing style. He said he was pretentious, and he just went on and on. But so I read Chief Justice Roberts' dissent, and it should be noted that Roberts didn't actually sign the dissent of Antonin Scalia. He wrote his own. And I think that's probably because he read it and was like, this is the rantings of a crazy man, I'm going to write my own. And like I said, Roberts I generally respect even when I disagree with him, because he writes like an adult. He has legal opinions that make sense to me or whatever, even when I disagree or whatever. And, I don't even know enough about the law to disagree sometimes. But he was basically saying that the job of the Supreme Court, the job of a judge, is to interpret what the law is, not what you want the law to be. So in his opinion, the 5 judges who voted in favor of marriage equality overstepped the Constitution.
All right, so they voted in what they want it to be,
Yeah.
not what the law should be interpreted as.
Yeah, that's what Roberts is saying. That's what they're all saying, really. But Roberts, actually.
How do you feel that the Constitution is basically the Bible?
Well,
What I mean by
yeah.
that, I know you probably understand where I'm getting at,
Yeah.
that it doesn't just flat out say something. We have to have people interpret the law for us, basically what people have to do for the Bible.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, so these are like, so the Supreme Court justices are like, yeah,
They're different.
like-
They're different church head
right,
denominations.
yeah. And it's interesting because you would think like the law would be clear and everybody
Right,
would
that's-
read the law and know what it says or whatever, but
Like the Bible.
right, but every single, almost, most of the decisions that come to the Supreme Court end up being split 5-4 or 6-3 or something. So there's always like 3 or 4 of them who go, no, it means the exact opposite of what
Yeah.
you're saying it means. So-
I find that fascinating.
It is fascinating,
It's
yeah.
very. It's an interesting thing, and it just has to be what you just said, that certain individuals on the Supreme Court are just interpreting the Constitution the way that they want it to be, and not how it should be interpreted.
Well, and at the same time, you can say like that's what they're all doing, really. I mean,
I guess, yeah, you're
maybe
right,
I'm
yeah.
doing, maybe we're doing. I mean, I think maybe we're doing the same thing. Like, I don't think the founding fathers ever thought about gay marriage, really.
Sure.
When they were writing the Constitution, there's really nothing in the Constitution that says you can get married, but even straight people can be married. There's not like there's not an amendment that says everybody should be free to marry or whatever. Maybe there should be, but over the years it's been determined through multiple cases that marriage is a fundamental right of everyone. It's considered part of the due process clause and all this kind of stuff, and so that's why Kennedy used the due process clause to say, look, marriage has been considered a fundamental right of people, that not only can you get married to whoever you want, but you can make the decisions for yourself and all that. And then with the Equal Protection Clause in the 14th Amendment, which is basically that everyone should be treated the same under the law.
Yeah.
That if straight people can be married, if heterosexuals can be married, if a man can marry a woman, then a man can marry another man, or a woman can marry another woman, or whatever. So I mean, at the end of the day, I like the decision,
I do too.
and so.
Yeah.
I'm totally celebrating it. And even Roberts in his dissent said, look, if you're in favor of this decision, by all means celebrate. He said, celebrate it, take to the streets and have a parade or whatever you want to do. He said, just don't celebrate the Constitution, because the Constitution had nothing to do with this.
Okay.
So that was his argument. And it might be a strong one. I just don't know enough about it to know, because it seems to me, the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment is like a slam dunk, no doubt about it argument. If marriage is a fundamental right for everyone, for Americans, then why can't a man marry another man, or a woman marry another woman, or whatever the case may be, or a transgender woman marry another transgender woman, or whatever? I don't care.
I'm sad that it took till 2015 for this to happen.
Yeah.
But I read something that Jeff Wagg, who used to be the president of the James Randi Educational Foundation a few years ago. I think he was before DJ Grothe. Actually, I think before DJ Grothe, wasn't it? Whatever. Phil
Plait was at
Phil
one
Plait,
point, yeah.
I think he was before Phil Plait.
Okay.
And Jeff Wagg said something along the lines like, people right now that are protesting this and saying that this is weird. He goes, I want you to think about this. When I was born, it was illegal for a black person to marry a white person.
Yeah.
And now when you think back at that, it just seems foreign and out of place.
Yeah, it just seems so stupid. Like,
he goes,
you mean in this country?
Yeah,
It was
yeah. He goes, to the same people that this is happening to now, this may seem foreign and out of place. In 30 years,
yeah.
the idea that homosexuals were not allowed to get married is going to seem foreign and out of place.
Yeah, and actually the Supreme Court decision that made banning interracial marriage, I think it was in 1967, it was Loving versus Virginia was the case. And they used, again, the equal protection clause of the 14th Amendment to make that decision. So, I mean, to me, that's the argument. I mean, that's the argument. But so when Roberts says that the Constitution had nothing to do with this, or that the other justices, that the 5 justices who voted in favor of marriage equality overstepped their judicial bounds and went outside the Constitution to make this decision, I don't understand what he means. He may well be right. I just don't know. Like I said, I don't know enough about it to really get it. But to me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, I'm an individual liberty type of guy. I've definitely got a libertarian streak about me. And I'll say that too, actually. The Libertarian Party is celebrating this. They're saying, look, we had this in the Libertarian Party had this in their original platform in 1972. Equal rights, gay marriage, all this. The same year the Democrats were like, So, I mean, if you want to, I guess, pat anybody on the back here, don't pat the Democrats on the back. The Libertarians have been talking about it for years. Yeah. But it still ends up being, I guess, a win for Obama in a way, even though he's only really been in favor of marriage equality for the last few years on record. Although he was before that, then I don't know, it's weird. But so it ends up looking like a big win for him. But yeah. But anyway.
So I still want to keep on this topic. So after this happened, on Friday night, every other Friday in the summer, my neighborhood does this thing called Kids and Cocktails. And it's where all of the adults with kids get together and we get drunk while our kids play together.
No, that's fascinating to me because
it's not really what happens, but that's what the name sounds like. Basically, it's just a big cookout, and everybody brings an item of food. And most people, it's usually the guys, surprisingly, not surprisingly, that are all hanging out in one corner drinking beer, and then the women are over there drinking like water and shit. And
wine coolers.
No, I haven't seen a wine cooler in years. They're probably delicious. I don't think I've ever had one.
I probably had one like years and years ago.
I think the sweetest, I don't know why we're on this topic, but
we're spitballing.
The sweetest alcoholic beverage I've ever drank was probably be like a Smirnoff.
Yeah, I remember those.
They had like Smirnoff like strawberry and watermelon flavor.
Yes.
And they were fucking delicious.
Yeah, so
it was funny about that. And then they go, they're delicious, and then you get like one of those burly men that come with like, yeah, but you're drinking a bitch beer.
Yeah, so see, here's my opinion on that, is I'm not actually a big beer drinker, as you well know. Yeah. You cannot seem to find a beer that I like. I just don't like beer, and that's just all there is to it. So I know that, when the burly men are hanging around or whatever, I'm not gonna fit into that, to their, if there's like a big beer drinking circle, I don't fit in. Yeah. I know that. And I know that those same burly men, those manly men who, pound beers back or whatever, that they hate the girly drinks, the Smirnoffs and all that kind of stuff. Now, it's been years since I've drank those, but when I did drink them, I thought they were delicious.
Yeah, I thought they were great.
What are those like? It's like Bud Light, like a margarita.
Like the Limeritas.
It's delicious, okay? I don't care if it's a girly drink or not. It's delicious. I've only had one, but I thought it was very tasty. Good. Yeah, refreshing.
But anyway, so at this party after this topic got brought up, and one of my neighbors is a big time fundamentalist Christian.
Yes.
And I didn't chime in right away.
Super duper.
I was just sitting there listening when this individual says something along the lines like he tried to make this argument that homosexuality was a choice, which boggles my mind because his mother is homosexual. His mother is a lesbian. Yeah.
Okay.
And he kind of used that as like an argument of authority. Like, I know that my mom just made a choice.
Okay.
And I'm like, wait a minute. So that's when I jumped in, and I didn't want to trail off I didn't want to bring God into it or anything like that.
Yeah.
But basically I said to him, did you consciously make a decision to marry a woman? And he kind of looked at me.
Ooh, what do you mean?
And I was like, did you have to make the decision that you weren't going to marry a guy, that you were going to marry a woman? He goes, no. And I go, Well, neither do they.
Why would you think it would be different for them?
Why do people think that? Why do people that are against it think that they're just making a choice? They're making a choice to live this perverted lifestyle.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
Yeah, and we always say, on the opposite, on the opposite end of the spectrum, even if they were making the choice, even if it was a choice, even if I did just decide I'm going to choose I like men now, so what?
What does that matter
That's
to
fine
you?
too. I don't care. Yeah, what is it any business of yours?
Yeah.
But that's not what happens.
Right.
So go ahead.
So, of course, I don't get an answer for that. And then, I immediately shut up because the last thing I want to do is start some animosity between the neighborhood. And
that'd be fun.
yeah,
I know.
I'd be freaking outcasted in a second. Plus,
That's
my
something.
kids are best friends with their kids. So,
Yeah, that's where she learned how to pray for the
that's
DVR
where
or the DVD player.
but anyway. So
yeah, that's interesting though, because it's fascinating to me how people are so quick to judge, a gay person saying, well, that they made a choice to live this lifestyle. And like we said, even if it was a choice, it still wouldn't matter to me.
Yeah.
But it's not a choice. They're born like that.
Yeah.
And why they can't see that if I didn't make a choice to be heterosexual, it was the natural thing for me to do. I just grew up and I liked girls. Why they don't see that it would be the same for them.
Yeah.
That they grew up and thought, this boy grew up and thought, I like boys.
Yeah.
I don't like girls. I like boys. Or that girl grew up and I like girls instead of boys or whatever. Or, the people who like both.
Yeah.
There's people who like both.
Yep.
So I don't understand why it's that difficult for them. It's not a difficult concept to grasp for me. And I'm not a genius.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be a difficult concept to grasp for them. But the problem is they have this barrier in their mind called religion that they just can't get around.
And I think that's where it just comes down to. I think this all boils down to if you're against it, it's because of religion.
Yeah.
There is a religious belief standing in your way, probably some document that is thousands of years old that for some reason you are holding to be true.
Yeah.
And it's affecting your decision-making skills.
Yeah.
But, one of the things that they were also talking about, and I can't remember who brought this up. I save me. I just lost my train of thought.
Oh, I don't know what you were going to say.
I just lost my train of thought.
We have no notes here, Bob. We're spitballing.
It was about this whole issue. Anyway, let's.
Oh wait, I know. Maybe it's about the pedophilia is going to be
No,
legal.
but we can go there.
Okay, we can get into that too. All right.
Because I was actually surprised that it took a whole 24 hours before I started seeing the slippery slopes.
Yeah. So let's talk about the reaction to the Supreme Court decision.
Well, mostly all of Friday, all I saw were just nothing but celebration posts, cheer, bravo America. Which
Generally,
is what I
the
wrote.
people who I consider friends are people who believe in equality on this issue. And I generally don't tend to associate myself or want to be around people who don't.
Yeah.
And that's not just because I want to live in a bubble where people only believe what I believe, but I just, if a fundamental part of a person's personality is that I don't like gay people or I don't like black people or whatever, it gets not only very uncomfortable because I have gay friends, I have black friends. That gets uncomfortable, but you just think like, I don't want to be associated with that person.
Right when you said that, you made me remember what the conversation was. Okay, so
Pat myself on the back.
yeah. So another person brought up this argument, and I didn't understand this one. This one fucking blew my mind actually more than the other one. Was that this individual said people aren't going to understand the ramifications of their actions now. Where if they try and he goes, we're going to see nothing but court cases and people these homosexuals are going to be suing people for discrimination. And I was like, you don't think they should?
Yeah.
I don't give a damn who it is. If you're discriminating against somebody because of religion or because of sexual preferences or because of their skin color, you should be sued. And you should get some of that ramifications from law because of that.
Yeah. I was actually reading a post by Adam Winkler. He's a professor of law at UCLA, and he was basically talking about what was missing from this Supreme Court decision. And he was talking about that Anthony Kennedy has ruled in favor, or he's ruled in 4 separate Supreme Court cases having to do with homosexuals in some way, whether it's marriage or whatever, or Hobby Lobby or not Hobby Lobby, but just other I think homosexual issues or whatever you want to call it. And he said that one thing that was missing was in his opinion, Adam Winkler says he refused once again to say that all laws that discriminate against LGBT people are subject to heightened judicial scrutiny. Basically, that he said under heightened scrutiny, laws are presumed unconstitutional, and the government is required to show strong reasons to justify disparate treatment. So, like for instance,